The cryptocurrency market is poised for an eventful year in 2024 with various predictions and forecasts shaping the expectations of investors and enthusiasts. On Tuesday, crypto trades worth millions of dollars were liquidated after a fake announcement claiming that Bitcoin spot exchange traded funds had already been approved by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, as the price of Bitcoin shot up to more than $48,000 before dropping to $45,500. A lot is happening in that space. And what are the prospects moving forward, bearing in mind that the Central Bank of Nigeria recently lifted the ban on crypto transactions? Well, I'm being joined by a major player in that industry. He's a lead partner in Fusion Lawyers, Mr. Senator Ihenye. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. Great to be here.
Well, indeed, I think we need to start from this tweet and the impact of it on trading. It's a roller coaster session after this fake tweet by Bitcoin ETF. Tell us what is happening around that space and how the entire market is reacting to this.
Well, as you know, the entire market has been very expectant of the Bitcoin spot ETF being approved by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Everyone has been anticipating this for months. Analysts have seen that it's possible the SEC in the U.S. could eventually approve the Bitcoin sports Bitcoin ETF by January 10. And that's why, unfortunately, some hackers, bad actors, have taken advantage of that very high anticipation of an approval to send the wrong, a very false notice of approval after hacking the U.S. SEC X accounts, formerly Twitter. And it's quite unfortunate because knowing traders very well, everyone has been alert, expecting that as soon as the sports Bitcoin ETF is approved, definitely we're supposed to expect that the market price or the price of Bitcoin will increase dramatically. A lot of people have already put in money expecting that as soon as it is approved, then Bitcoin price that at the price they bought will of course have appreciated, and there will be good returns on investments. There are of course also institutional investors who are expecting that this will be a long-term game for them. So it's quite unfortunate. The SEC's head has come out to say that, hey, this is not true, it's not from us. It was a system that was hacked, but we are all good to go right now.
Interesting stuff. But really, what's the role of the Securities and Exchange Commission in making the market a bit more attractive? Or what can they do, or what should they be doing to help strengthening this market?
That's a very good question. The general cryptocurrency market has always been seen as a wild west market, a market where scams are going on, illicit transactions, fraud, highly volatile funds or assets, a lot of speculative investments, which understandably informed the initial approach by regulators across the world towards cryptocurrency adoption. Because whether we like it or not, if we don't have transparency and security in that space, there will be a lot of risk for consumers and investors. Over the years, after the initial resistance by regulators against cryptocurrency adoption, what we have seen, especially in the last 2 years, 2022, 2023, is that regulators, including central banks across the world, including Securities and Exchange Commissions, financial crimes units or agencies, are beginning to see that this is really not about resistance. We need to understand the technology behind cryptocurrencies. We need to understand why it is being globally adopted by more and more people out there and see how we can make it more transparent. And thankfully, I think that across the world, certain jurisdictions are beginning to get that right. So rather than outright bans and restrictions, which eventually end up pushing cryptocurrency adoption on the ground, which is even more risky for national security. It's more risky for the financial system as well. Because if you want a sound and safe financial system, then we need an open market for cryptocurrencies. Thankfully, Nigeria has also embraced this. And it's not a surprise, really. In May 2023, I think June 2023, the National Information Technology Development Agency, in collaboration with the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, had already set the ball rolling by ensuring that the federal government of Nigeria endorse and adopt what is now called the National Blockchain Policy. That gives Nigeria a national strategy towards adoption of cryptocurrencies and blockchain generally. As advocates as ours, like us, have always been saying, cryptocurrency is not bad. It is the use that is bad. Therefore, focus should not be on cryptocurrencies, but the users of cryptocurrency. In other words, we need a risk-based approach to regulating cryptocurrency. Thankfully, the Central Bank of Nigeria has issued a guideline that effectively has lifted the crypto ban in the banking and financial system, which means that today players in the space, including financial institutions, including virtual asset service providers, whether they are digital asset exchanges, digital assets custodians, digital assets issuance, as well as platforms into ICOs, initial coin offerings, can now engage banks to create banking and financial relationships for the purpose of transactions. I have to commend the CBN for this very bold step. Indeed, the CBN didn't start taking that step. I think that it was the Securities and Exchange Commission since May 2022 that took that bold step first to ensure that the capital markets embraces digital assets. And right now, everyone is expecting that as soon as you get the regulatory license from the SEC, you should be good to go to create bank accounts with any financial institution of your choice. And the great thing about this really is the level of trust and confidence that this will bring to that sector, because we now will have more transparency, more traceability, and more security. The financial system as well, which regulators had been trying to protect against cryptocurrency adoption, will now be able to also see financial institutions carry out supervisory roles, monitoring roles on behalf of the CBN, ensuring that their customers adopt the anti-money laundering and countering of financing of terrorism mechanisms as required under Nigerian laws. I cannot say much about how well the cryptocurrency market is going to be in 2024, without also commending the National Assembly for working with stakeholders to ensure that Nigeria has what is called the Money Laundering Act, which recognizes virtual asset service providers generally as financial institutions who should also be able to comply with Nigerian laws. Why I'm emphasizing this is that it demystifies all that darkness and opacity that the former governor of the central bank, Governor Emefiele, had been emphasizing and saying that this should be the reason why the doors should be shut against cryptocurrencies. Today, even the central bank has what is called the e-naira, which is based on cryptography technology. Today, it's all over the news that the central bank has also approved what is called the CNGN, which is a stable coin for the first time in Africa that is going to be pegged one-to-one to the Nigerian naira. Whether the Nigerian naira is stable enough to merit a stable coin is another thing entirely. But the thing is, for the first time, my friend, we have a situation where Nigeria is showing readiness to embrace adoption of cryptocurrencies and digital assets generally. And so, really, all that buzz and all that noise around all the darkness that this could bring to the sector, it will no longer be so. Because for the first time, agencies like the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, will be properly placed, including the Economic and Financial Crimes, and the Nigerian Police, and the rest of them. they will be in a better position to investigate any issues around digital assets or cryptocurrency related crimes. This is transparency. This is what investors need. Now we expect in 2024 that more than ever before, we should have institutional investors come into the space. As I speak to you, I know a lot of investors, foreign investors, who are already beaming their searchlights to the Nigerian blockchain space because they have seen the green light from the central bank. We expect that Nigeria should be able to get substantial investments in this sector. And so it's a wonderful year. I expect that 2024 will be that year where players in the virtual asset service sector will begin to step out across the subsectors. Beyond financial sector, we expect adoption and use cases in the agricultural sector, in real estates, in land transactions, and the rest of them. This is an exciting time, and we really can't wait to have Nigeria leverage the opportunities provided by the cryptocurrency market and the digital assets sector to put Nigeria at a better position in terms of being an economy that can, create opportunities for its teeming Nigerian youths that is ever growing on a daily basis.
Interesting stuff. Deep and well said, I must say. But the fears, risk is something that is very important. Yes, I must talk about it because Nigerians listening to us, they would want to be like, before I came on set, I spoke to one of my colleagues and he said, I hear CBN has opened up this market, but I'm still scared. What sort of firewalls are we going to create? What sort of methodology are we going to put in place to make sure that those guys don't take advantage of this? That's the worry. What are you thinking, or what do you think should be done? What is done? What's the standard globally?
Fantastic. That's a very good question. Indeed, understandably, consumers and potential users of anything cryptocurrency or digital assets generally will be concerned about safety and security in this space, and rightly so. But I'm happy to mention here that thankfully we have had regulators who have tried to be as proactive as possible regarding safety and security in the space. These are on various levels. I'll talk about the government level first. So we have what is called the Securities and Exchange Commission, which has a regulatory purview over investments and securities. As you must have noticed, most users of cryptocurrencies are people who are hoping to make some money out of crypto investments, which means that the SEC has a major role to play in ensuring safety in the space. The SEC, thankfully, as far back as May 2022, issued new rules specifically for the cryptocurrency and digital assets markets as new players in the capital markets. In that rule, you have a licensing and registration system that ensures that bad actors are kept out of the markets. In that rule, you have things around corporate governance, risk management, cybersecurity, data protection and privacy, and other mechanisms put together to ensure that there is transparency, there's integrity, and there's efficiency in that market. So for people who might be very scared about getting into the space, just watch out for the role that the SEC will be playing in that regard. Also, as I earlier said, we now have what is called the Money Laundering Act, which ensures that financial institutions and other players in the cryptocurrency markets who are called virtual asset service providers will comply with Nigerian laws as far as money laundering, financing of terrorism, and other illicit transactions are concerned. So there is no place to hide for the bad actors as far as these transactions are concerned. So we expect that should there be issues at all, we always have issues anyway. Even in the traditional banking and financial sector, we have issues on a daily basis. But the issue is, when these issues arise, who are we going to hold responsible? Who is in charge of ensuring that KYC, customer due diligence, enhanced due diligence, and all these things are conducted. This is where the Central Bank of Nigeria has ensured that, hey, if you want to use the bank accounts or use the banking system, ensure that if you fall under the SEC regulatory purview, you should get your licenses. So if things go wrong, we know where to go. But again, it's not about things going wrong and knowing where to go. It's about preventing things from going wrong. And that's why the SEC has some robust requirements for starting business in that space, including share capital and the rest of them, right? So I would say that even on the other side, I did talk about the governments. Now, even in the private sector as an industry, as I sit here, I was once opportune to be the president of the Stakeholders in Blockchain Association of Nigeria, CBAN. And in that regime and in the new regime going on right now under another presidency, we have tried to work with other stakeholders and industry players to ensure that we have some kind of self-regulatory mechanism. I'm proud to say that the industry has a code of conduct for virtual asset service providers, which ensure transparency, integrity, and efficiency in the space. What we really need is full-fledged implementation of this code of conduct so as to ensure that bad actors are out of the system. And I have to say this, it is true that the government has a lot of role to play as regulators. But the truth is this, industry players have even more role to play because they are in the system, they are in the industry, they know the bad actors and the good actors. That's why supporting industries and associations such as the CBAN, such as BNUG, Blockchain Nigeria User Group, such as Cryptography Development Initiative of Nigeria, such as Blockchain Industry Coordinating Committee of Nigeria, Beacon, and even the FinTech Association of Nigeria, it's very important that regulators like the SEC, the CBN, always have a roundtable from time to time with these industry players and associations so that collaboratively we can ensure that Nigeria has the safest, biggest, and best cryptocurrency market investments in Africa.
We've spent all our time talking crypto. I wanted us to touch on the startup bill before I let you go. So interesting there, honestly, I must tell you. But we'll keep up on this. So we'll definitely have you in always to give updates on the crypto market. But one word, before you go, a lot of expectations with the startup bill and all of that. But at the end of the day, it seems like it's too slow. Expectations are high. What do you make of it and what are you expecting this year?
All right, for the Nigerian startup hack, I have to say this first of all, that the bill is a very commendable initiative, and it's an industry-driven bill or act, meaning that the startups themselves were the ones who came up with this. Now, it's been slow because there has been some lag regarding implementation. But thankfully, since this administration came on board, I think under the new Minister of Information, of Communications, Digital Economy and Innovations, he has stepped on that already by ensuring that what is called the Nigerian Startup Portal is released. With the portal now out there, it means that startups can now go to that portal. It's a website. You go to the website and apply for all of those fine and beautiful benefits that the Nigerian government has ensured are available for startups who need funding, who need incubation support, who need support in the ecosystem, just to ensure that we don't come up with startups in thousands, but at the end of the day, many of them still end up dying in the first 2 or 3 years. So this is what is happening. I'm happy to let you know that with that startup portal up, I expect that the startup ecosystem will begin to take advantage of that. And as I said earlier, a lot of things that government needs to do, but again, we need industry players to drive policy. We need industry players to drive regulation. We should not leave those conversations to government alone.
Interesting stuff. I must thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking to Mr. Senator Inheye. He's the lead partner in Fusion Lawyers. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day.